Here's the track record of another leader from another time that illustrates my thoughts on the matter. It starts with his family being forced out of their home. He had to work to support them. 15 years later, he failed in business. A year later, he ran for state legislature and lost. Another year on, and he borrows money from a friend to begin a business and was bankrupt after a year, spending the next 17 years of his life paying off his debt. He runs for state legislature. Again, this time he won. A year later, he was engaged to be married. His sweetheart died, and his heart was broken. Not a year passes. He has a total nervous breakdown and was in bed for 6 months. 2 years on, and he seeks to become Speaker of the state legislature. He's defeated. 5 years later, he runs for state Congress and loses. He ran for Congress again, and this time he won. Went to Washington and did a good job. He ran for re-election to Congress and lost. He ran for Senate of the United States and lost. He sought the vice presidential nomination at his party's national convention and got less than 100 votes. 2 years later, he runs for the US Senate again, and again he lost. Eventually, at the age of 52, he was elected President of the United States. Now, some of you will already have guessed, as was mentioned before, he's Abraham Lincoln. He took some of the toughest decisions in his country's history. He demonstrated an ability to withstand adversity and move forward in the face of frustration. He had an ability to learn from his mistakes and move on without rancor. He shared his successes. He knew how to relax, take stock, and replenish. He surrounded himself with strong people and actively sought out their perspectives and opinions. He had an inner strength to stick to his fundamental goals. He was willing to speak to and listen to the views of many, each time presenting his own beliefs and vision. He fought for what he believed was right. He put ordinary people first. He survived a war and an assassination attempt, and now is regarded as one of the best US presidents and greatest statesmen of all time. The Chief Minister has met head-on some of the most difficult of problems this island has had to face for years. And from what I've just related, you can draw your own parallels. So, sir, when you consider what Senator Gorst has had to contemplate and contend with during his term of office, it is astonishing that he hasn't buckled and quietly stepped away from it all. Finally, returning to Lincoln, Tolstoy wrote this about him: his greatness consisted of the integrity of his character and moral fiber of his being. I said at the beginning of this speech that politics is a human process. It is not a straight path for many, as I illustrated with Lincoln. But that doesn't mean you can't be good or achieve greatness. I would suggest that the same could be said about our Chief Minister.